How's everyone doing tonight? Well, it seems like as good a day as any to scan my Mercedes. But we are not talking about the V8 S-Class that I've already scanned. We are talking about the V12 Mercedes that needs to be scanned, and a lot of work needs to be put into it. But for now, I want to show you what the MK908 Pro Autel is capable of on this R230 Mercedes SL600 V12. I'm sorry for the lighting conditions, but it is what it is, so let's jump right into it. The MaxiCom MK908P. This thing is the king of all aftermarket diagnostic systems, in my opinion. I've searched long and wide to see if what I believe would be the best diagnostic system for as many possible makes and models as possible. And as far as I've been able to determine, while this is not a cheap computer, tablet, whatever you want to call it, by any means, this thing is over $2,000. It's not a cheap computer. But what I do want to say about it is that it's just been unbelievable about scanning all of my cars, which I have a Lincoln, which is a Ford, I have a BMW, and I have two Benzes, one from 04 era and one from an 08 era. So those are two different generations. This is a 2004 SL600 that we're sitting in. It is a V12, but it is an 04. So it is an older system. I don't know why this is not straight on the screen. Let me try to make it as straight as possible. So there are two ways to go about it. There are, you guys already know this from watching my previous videos, but let me go through it anyway. There is the direct manufacturer approach, and then there's the generic OBD. We're gonna do both, but let's start with the auto VIN check. What this does is it auto detects what kind of car we're in. So we are connected, the Bluetooth J-Box is connected, the J2534 is connected to the OBD, which is transmitting this information wirelessly to this computer. So I might as well be in the house doing this, which is a beautiful thing about this computer. It is completely wireless. I could be in the house doing these I mean, that's me as a DIYer doing it in the house. You could be in your garage, in your shop, you know, your place of business, which are generally the people who buy this type of expensive system. But for you DIYers out there, garage generally does not have a air conditioner, so you're sweating your beep off. In the house, totally fine, right? So you could plug this in the car, in the garage, and scan it from your house. Do any kinds of active testing from your house. See, VIN scanning failed. I don't know what this is all about. This is an 04. Let's try. Oh, decline. Let's try to do it again. If it doesn't work, we'll just go through the Mercedes direct route, which does work. So the car is running. I don't really know why it's giving me why this part is not working, but we're gonna get through it and see if it works. And if it doesn't, we'll just go through Mercedes direct. It is a little bit chilly in here. The AC seems to be working better than I had hoped. So let's turn that down. Plus, I bet you can hear way better with it off. And let's go ahead and see if it recognizes the VIN. I figured as long as the car's running, I might as well have my cooled seats on. VIN scanning failed. And the massage. So while I'm scanning this, to show you guys what this computer can do, I might as well get a massage, right? So we go into Benz, we accept whatever they want to tell us, because who reads that stuff anyway? Let's do automatic, right? Read the VIN, and this should recognize the VIN number automatically. I don't know why it doesn't do the auto VIN scan, but when you go into Mercedes, it does. This part has not failed on me yet, so hopefully it won't this time either. There it goes. Okay, we are up to 06, and we are left-handed drive here in the US. So that's probably good. Let's start with diagnosis. And I want to do the auto scan so we see. The other option was to go directly into what you already know is the issue. So if you know you want to scan your ABC active body control to see what the problems are in that specific system, you are able to go through that to that directly. We are going to do the auto scan to show, first off, how many computers there are in this car, and secondly, exactly how many faults. I don't know if you guys can see that. It was scanning something, so it started beeping and giving me red warnings on the dash. This car is interesting in the sense that someone has gone and blacked out the check engine light on my dash. And by someone, I mean either the dealer who sold it to me or the dealer who sold it to that person. I'm not really sure who it was, and it doesn't really matter. I got this car dirt cheap, cheaper than dirt for a V12. I mean, I can't imagine anybody getting any kind of V12 from this era on this planet. So, I feel okay about that. I know that it most likely needs a ignition coil for the passenger side. That should take care of my misfire. As far as any other stuff, I am suspecting I need to replace one or both of the accumulators, the ABC accumulators, because it gives me warning messages when I go over bumps. And, you know, a bunch of little stuff, like my buttons are broken on the dashboard, not on the dashboard, on the driver door. Like my passenger window button is broken off, I can't roll that up. My trunk open button is broken, so the person, the dealer who sold it to me, needed to break into his own car to open the trunk, to charge the battery, to give it juice, to open up the doors. This car's got a little bit of a history. So we're scanning the computers here. Obviously this car needs a little bit / a lot of work. What what's interesting is on the dash, I have on my speedometer cluster, I have a check engine light. But either the dealer who sold it to me or the dealer who sold it to that dealer has went ahead and taken the gauge cluster out of the car and blocked it off, so I can barely see the bottom of the check engine light while it's on all the time. It's on all the time. It's on right now. I wish I could show it to you guys, but my SRS light might be on too. That seems like it's been covered even better than the check engine light. So I'm not really sure if that's on or not, but my check engine light is most definitely on. And someone went ahead and blacked it out, so the buyer would be none the wiser and just take the car and expect it to work well. Well, anybody who knows anything about cars would know that this car is not working well. It is misfiring, and you definitely feel that you do not have 500 horsepower and almost 600 pound-feet of torque. You don't. You know this. I mean, it takes a special person to not realize that this car does not feel like it has 500 horsepower. Regardless, people may be fooled. People are fooled every day. Every single person who goes to the first dealer and buys a car, I call that a fool. You guys may want to watch my do not buy a luxury vehicle without watching this video, that video that I posted about how you should be a master of whatever car you're looking to buy before you even step foot into a dealership. So that's a different story. In fact, it's a different video that I already have posted. You guys are free to watch it. But basically, you should know your car before you go and see it. So there's a check engine light here. Most likely, I need a ignition coil, which in this car, as any Mercedes V12 engine from this era, is pretty darn expensive. What you need, most cars come with an ignition coil per spark plug. V12 Mercedes come with an ignition coil for the entire bank of spark plugs. So there are two banks of cylinders, as it is a V shape. So there's 6 cylinders on the driver's side and 6 cylinders on the passenger side. In this car, the spark plugs have all been replaced. There are 24, yes, 24 spark plugs, 2 per cylinder. So it is a 12 cylinder, but it has a 24 spark plug system. And this car has an ignition coil for each side of the engine. So there's an ignition coil for the left and an ignition coil for the right. So if there was an ignition coil on each spark plug, I could go ahead and replace each one without a problem for a lot less money. Since this car has just 2 ignition coils for 24 spark plugs, that means each coil has 12 coils that go onto 12 spark plugs on each side. So the ignition coil on the driver's side has been replaced. Supposedly, I don't know what was put in there. I don't know if it was a used unit. I don't know if it was a remanufactured unit. I don't know if it was a China unit. I know nothing until I take it apart. I have not done anything with this car up until now. Well, I've ordered a couple of buttons. My trunk opening button is broken, and my driver's seat adjustment button is broken in a sense that when I try to adjust the back of my seat, the driver's seat, when I push back, the actual back of the seat, when I push it to go backwards, it goes forward. And when I push it to go forward, it also goes forward. So the more I push it, the more it goes forward. Thank the lucky stars that I have this computer right here that is able to make my driver's seat go backwards whenever I want, without the button. on the door itself. So I am able to adjust it that way. But if I didn't have that, I'd be pretty screwed. In any case, this video is about the scanning of the computers on board, and that's what we're doing here. So, without further ado, we have, let's see how many computers we have. There are 34 individual computers. I don't remember how many are in the Mercedes S-Class, but I have the W221, but I'm pretty sure it's pretty close to 49. This is a V12. From what I understood about V12s, they are supposed to be fully loaded. They are supposed to come with every single option that there ever was offered on anything. I'm talking about the 600s. The 65s are kind of strange in that they give you a firmer ride, more power, but they take away the wood, which is like, I feel like luxury car, you should get wood. I'm not a fan of speed to get the leather steering wheel, even though it's all shaped like a race car steering wheel and all that good stuff, and to each their own. Me personally, I want luxury, and I expect there to be a whole lot of wood. I mean, I expect 2 to 3 trees to be chopped down to make the interior of my car, sort of like a Bentley Rolls-Royce style sort of situation, which is because I've done my research on the V12s, which was based on the S-Class. You know, I'm not super versed in the antics of the SL or the CL for that matter, but as far as I know, the CL is more like the S. I mean, the same era W221 and the 216 are the pretty much almost identical inside. I mean, they have the same buttons and the same button placement, and they work exactly the same, but one has 4 doors and one has 2. So those are kind of similar, but the SL, it's a different beast. This is a sports car, dare I say, even a race car trapped in a Grand Tourer's body. It's super sporty / racy when it wants to be, and when you don't want it to be, you just hit all the comfort settings and it just, you know, tries to make you as comfortable as possible. The suspension on this, even though it's ABC, even if you have the ABC Sport turned off, it's still not as soft of a ride as you would expect in as you get in an S-Class, as you would expect it to be in an ABC car. The ABC suspension is supreme leader of no North Korea reference, just you know, it's a supreme leader of all suspension types out there, and it's such a rare thing to have in your car. And people that are doing these coilovers, I mean, don't get me started on all of that stuff. What's the point of buying a $140,000 car and then just take the stuff that came with it, that made it a $140,000 car, and turn it into a Honda Civic with coilovers? What are you people doing? I'm not trying to make no enemies here. Don't take this personally. I just appreciate Mercedes for what Mercedes is. Mercedes has been manufacturing cars since the beginning of car manufacturing. When Mercedes came out with a car, there were no competitors. Mercedes was the first company to come out with a car, period. Literally. They were the first and only company to come out with a car. There was no competitor. There was no BMW for like decades. I don't really know when BMW came out, but I'm pretty sure it hasn't been around that long, as long as Mercedes. I mean, I am sure, because Mercedes was the first car to come out with a car. And they know what they're doing. They've come out with so many brand new first technologies of any car. They were the first. They're the pioneers in most technologies that come. When something new comes out on Mercedes, you will get that on your Toyota Camry in a couple decades. You will get there, but you're not going to get there that fast. I mean, it will take a couple decades for you to catch up. But anyway, we're not talking to Toyota people here. Anyone who loves a Mercedes definitely does not drive a Camry, unless you're gonna do your wife like that, which, let me tell you right now, that's kind of bogus. Don't do that to your wife. If you're a Mercedes guy, well, you probably don't do that to your wife. To the few of you who do, please don't do that to her. Get her a GL or an ML or something, you know, just give her a little taste of luxury. Anyway, whatever you guys want to do, that's up to you. So what did we figure out? 34 systems. Let's not digress off of the subject here. This is a conversation about what the Autel MK908P, which is the Pro, can do on this dinosaur of a car from 04. I don't know, it's not an antique yet, right? It's like 25 years to be an antique. This is like 15 years old. 15 years old, so it's not an antique yet, so it's not that old, but pretty old. It's been updated a few times by now, but regardless, it's got 34 systems. Let's go one by one. So this is what we have. Motor electronics, electronic transmission control, you guys can read. Stability control, airbag, instrument clusters, sensortronic, tire pressure, electronic selector module, ABC, which has 6 faults, by the way, central gateway, electronic ignition switch, overhead control panel, lower control panel, driver side SAM, passenger side SAM, rear SAM, signal acquisition module. This is just a hub for all of the signals that pass through that tells you what is and what isn't. Notice that there are faults everywhere. I suspect, and I hope I'm right, Autel, please prove me right. I suspect that most of these faults will go away because the car, when this car sits, it has some sort of a battery draining thing going on, and it's every time that goes, the battery drains, all the systems shut down. Then you gotta power it back up and run it for a little bit for all of the signals to start going, blah 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 blah. Once it gets going, it's good. Well, it's not good, it's not excellent, it's pretty good. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, it's pretty good. So there's a lot of faults. Look at this, fault, couple of passes, fault. So there's a lot of faults in this pneumatic system. Left door, right door, electric seat adjustment, and all of this multi-contour backrest. Front left, front right. I mean, there's only 2 seats in this car, so that's all. And both of them have 2 faults. Okay, Parktronic actually passed, which is interesting. We're gonna dive into every single system and show you what this computer can read / do. Hopefully I will be able to show this to you. Let's go ahead and do a quick erase. I think that's gonna be good. Let's do a quick erase and see what actually disappears based on it running right now. That way we can see what the actual faults are. Right now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. We have 22 out of 34 systems that have faults. That's, with quick thinking, I'm thinking about 66%. 2/3 of the systems have faults. Now, let's see what happens after we do a quick erase. This eraser goes into every module that has faults and just tries to erase the codes. If it is successful in erasing the codes, and it tries to erase as many codes as there are. So let's say motor electronics had 10 faults, it still has 10 faults, if it had that. Airbag has 1 fault. See, that one got erased. Brake malfunction, stop vehicle. So it's scanning the ABS, whatever it's scanning, I don't know. See, it's checking, erasing, and if there's no fault currently, it erases the fault. So this will give us a good idea of what the actual faults in the car are. But this video is not so much about what faults I have in my car. This is more about what this this specific Autel computer can do whatever. So it's going, right? Okay. What this Autel can specifically do on these specific modules, on this specific car with these specific modules. So after this is done, we're going to see where we are from 22 out of 34. We'll see where we're at that point and go from there. But as of now, we're on number 27, 28. We're almost done with the 34, and then we'll go into each one and see what they can do. Hopefully fairly quickly, because my videos tend to be super long lately, and I'm going to try to cut down on that for you guys. I know it's kind of a pain to go through all of the stuff that I'm trying to talk about. I know, but I'm just trying to provide as many details as possible for you guys. Don't take it personally, please. So we're done. Let's see. We had 22 systems with faults. Let's see what we're down to. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 out of 34. You see what just happened? We had 22 systems with faults. We're down to 5. E-call telematic system, that's that SOS calling for help while, you know, from your car in case you have an accident, or if you just want to chat with someone, if you're just bored, you want to talk to the lady on the SOS line, whatever. That has a fault, probably because it's not activated. Doesn't even matter. So that's not an actual fault, at least in my book it isn't. So we're gonna go ahead and not count. I'm gonna go ahead and not count it. So we're down to 4 faults out of 34. 4 systems. Excuse me. So let's dive right into it. This is the first one, motor electronics. Let's see what we got here. So in each of the systems, we're gonna have about 7, I want to say 8. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. About 8. 7 to 8 different options. So ECU information. We're not gonna go into this on every single one, but it gives you a control unit, a number, which is a Mercedes model number, I assume. Bosch is who manufactures the original part. Hardware status 1202. I don't know if this is December from 2002 or what. This is a 2004 car. I'm not sure what these are. As you know, I know not what I do. So I'm just bringing you the information. If you know what you're doing, great. Here you go. Maybe this will help you make a decision on buying an Autel product or buying this specific Autel product, which I am extremely happy with, even though I know not what I do. But regardless, so read codes. Let's see what we've got in this module. This is the motor, so it should give me some sort of misfire on every cylinder on the passenger side. That's 1 through 6, and you know, some catalytic converter damage, which I may have damaged. I am driving this car once in a while just to, you know, make the fluids go and all of that good stuff. Stored in current. Comparison of the pressures. I don't know what that is. Pressure sensor upstream of throttle valve. Okay. Pressure sensor downstream of air cleaner, right cylinder bank. That's the passenger. Misfire, damages 3-way. That's the P0300. That's the generic misfire code. Right? Then we got cylinder 2. Electronic control injection ignition module, right cylinder bank. P0300. Again, that's the generic misfire. Spark plug ARB of cylinder 4, that's stored, so we're probably just gonna delete this, and I don't know why it didn't go away, but cylinder 4, 1, 3, and 5. So I believe we're missing cylinder 6. And I don't really know why cylinder 6 is not misfiring. From what I've been told, if it's 1 through 5, you're most likely looking at your ignition coil. From what I understand, if it's all cylinders misfiring, it may not be your ignition coil. And if you guys know what you think potentially is going on here, please leave it in the comments below, because from what I've talked to a guy who rebuilds these ignition coils, and he told me that it's most likely my ignition coil, even though he himself said that if all your cylinders are misfiring, it's probably not your ignition coil. But when I talked to him, he said it most likely is. I don't know if he's trying to sell me a coil or what. I would love to get a third opinion. I went to my guy at the repair shop. He told me start with the ignition coil also. This guy told me ignition coil also. My computer is telling me misfires on 1 through 5 of the passenger side, and as you can see, these other codes. So I don't know. Tell me what you guys think. Event code is something, as far as I understand, that's happening right now, and this should be very similar to what the read codes showed, except for maybe the stored codes on there. We'll see right now. System passed, no event detected. I don't understand how that's possible. Erase codes. Let's go ahead and not do that right now. Live data. Check the engine at cold startup and then warming up phase. Check the engine at idle speed. Check the engine when driving full throttle. So these are a bunch of live data stuff that you can check in each one of these options. Check the engine at idle speed. Okay, we're idling right now. Let's see what it shows. Oil temperature, oil level. And each one of these you can hit on those 3 stars and you can do a graph, or if you want to do some sort of a, you know, gauge like this. It's pretty neat. Pretty neat. You don't really need that. See, 3.5 inch. It's telling me that my oil level is high, and I'm actually pretty sure it is kind of high. I need to get in there and check it. The problem is, when I tried to pull the oil dipstick out, it broke. So I have not been able to check my engine oil this entire time. I know. This is not how people fix their cars. You're supposed to check your engine oil before you start the engine. I know. But I'm an idiot. What can I tell you? Fuel tank level 2.38 gallon. I don't see how that's possible because I have low fuel. Right now, I'm almost empty. So, whatever. Oil quality 2.2. So apparently the quality of the oil is decent, and the guy told me he replaced the oil, the dealer who sold it to me, but apparently he put too much. I can suck it out. I have the machine to suck it out from the top. I don't have to even raise the car up, but to be able to check it, I need to order a dipstick. Simple, right? You would think. Test values, pressure sensor, lambda control. So this is what it gives you on there. Active test. What's an active test? Okay. So air pump switchover valve, fuel injectors, throttle valve actuator, purge control valve, activated charcoal. I don't want to do any of this stuff right now. I just want to show you what is possible on an Autel versus if you know what the Star system, the Star Diagnostics can do. I think this is very, very close to OEM scanning. And I think it's leagues above what anyone else is doing in the aftermarket world. Correct me if I'm wrong. Tell me if you have a system that is doing all of these amazing different things, diving super deep into these Mercedes systems without being OEM. I'd love to hear from you. What are you using? How are you able to diagnose your Mercedes, advanced Mercedes? We're not talking C-Class, E-Class, CLS class. We're not talking about that. We're talking about S, CL, SL. That's it. Nothing else. Maybe a G-Wagon. Maybe. I don't know. I've never had a G-Wagon. Maybe one day when I get a G-Wagon, and that will be pretty much the day my wife kicks me out of the house, because we now have 4 cars. We've been able to get rid of a couple, you know, so we're down to 4 cars. If I end up bringing a G-Wagon home, I can pretty much sign my own divorce papers. I think 2 Mercedes for a household of 2 drivers is probably too much, even when those 2 Mercedes are part of a 4 car fleet, my Star fleet, you know, all stars here. We got stretched Navigator, 2 Benzes, one being an S, one being a V12 SL, and BMW X5. You know, it's not exactly we're not collecting Chevy Cruzes around here, if you know what I mean. I'm sorry if you have a Chevy Cruze. I'm not trying to offend anybody. I'm just saying, a Chevy Cruze is no S-Class. I'm pretty sure you knew that. If you didn't know, you may want to check the MSRPs. But anyway, you've seen what all of this does. Feel free to pause the screen. I've been chatting about this stuff for a while now, so you've had plenty of time to figure that out. So, special functions, variant coding. Okay, so that's interesting. F2 to change code, F3 to send code. Okay, model R230, M275, E55. That's it. So everything is set for USA, which is nice that it's actually made for the country that you're driving the car in. It's nice, you know. If it was spec'd for any other country, even Mexico or Canada or anything, whatever you have, there's nothing wrong with those cars. It's fine, but it's always good to know that your car is made for the place that you live in, that you drive the car in. So that's always good. And that's it here. There's an edit, which we will not be touching. Control unit adaptations, learning, and correction. We will not be diving into that because we don't have anything to program. So that's the motor electronics, and there should still be at least 10 codes in there. Well, at most 10 codes, I would say. Come on, buddy. 10 codes. Okay, so we got that. Electronic transmission control. There are no codes, but I will show you what this is capable of. We're going to dive into every system. So this is what it shows you. There's some model numbers, some, you know, whatever all of this stuff means to you. Read codes. There should be no codes. Event code. There should be nothing. System pass. Erase codes, you know. We're not going to do that. Live data, speeds, upshift and downshift. Should we dive into? Well, this is live data. You know, it shows you a whole bunch of live data. So you see exactly what you're able to see, what kind of live data in which system. Then we have an active test, which tests all solenoid valves. That's nice. Right? Okay, control unit adaptations. I feel like the car just lifted up for some reason. I wonder what that was all about. The ABC just kind of went a little nutty. Not super nutty, but I feel like it raised up, at least on one corner. And what would make it do that while we've been sitting here for a good, I don't know, half an hour or whatever it's been. Anyway, definition, assignment of hydraulic shift elements, important information, adaptation limit values. Then there's some more important information, display and reset, and performing adaptations. Okay, and special functions, initial test oil condition check, oil level check. Let's see if it'll do that. Oil condition check, oil color and smell, and this just tells you what to do. To me, this seems kind of stupid. Why does this advanced computer tell me to go look at what color the fluid is? I already know this. I need the computer to tell me computer stuff, like analyze my stuff. Don't tell me to go smell my transmission. Abrasion in transmission oil. And it's just gonna tell me what to look for. Really? I need you to check it. You're the computer. Actual values, oil level check. Will you actually check it for me? Selected gear, park, starter lockout, open, transmission oil temperature, 208. So, Fahrenheit. There you have it. What's my level? Oil level check. What's my level? It's not here. Maybe I'm missing something, but this is not sliding anywhere. Help. Yeah. That's all that is. Warranty or goodwill processing. What's that? Also, nothing. Fourth gear will damage. Metal shavings and oil pan. Interesting. Diagnosis routines. Turn off incline and all of this good stuff. Okay, so that was that, and that was that. So that's the electronic transmission. Now we have electronic stability program, or ESP. These come on most Mercedes. There's a button here right next to my shifter that says ESP off. So here is once again made by Bosch. Read codes, there should be none. Event code, there should be none. Erase codes I don't need. Live data, here's where we can get live data from. Power supply, terminal 87. RPM sensor, all zeros on the 4 speed sensors. Rotation speed 0. Steering angle 10 degrees. Here, when I turn my steering wheel, that's pretty level. Yeah. My dash says ABS unavailable, diagnostics rig test. So I guess they didn't block out my ABS light. And switches. Switches are off, parking brake, blah, blah, blah. So some live data stuff. Active test would be, what can we do with our active testing here? Oh, the Y10, speed sensitive power steering. I have a video on me replacing the speed sensitive power steering valve, solenoid valve in the S-Class, which you can find on my channel. So, not hard to do, surprisingly. Not hard to do at all. So that's the active test apparently on this. And control unit adaptations gives you a road test, which we are not driving anywhere right now, so you get the idea. Now, we have an airbag fault. We have one fault. What kind of fault do we have with our airbag? let's take a look. I skipped the ECU. I'm gonna go back to that for you guys. The supply voltage of the control module is low. ECU, is it made by Bosch also? Temic. Yeah, Temic. That's another company that is doing a lot of work for Mercedes. Number FFFFFFFFFF. What is happening with all the F's? Does that mean we fail? Kidding, of course, but hopefully stored. Okay, erase codes. We don't need that. We don't need to erase any codes. That's fine. Live data. Ignition circuit, seatbelt buckles, front passenger seat occupied recognition, and operating hours counter. So there's our operating hours. It's 4,549 operating hours. If you're looking at a car that is a limo, you may have a lot more operating hours than mileage, because those guys tend to sit around and with the engine running, so the AC is working. In a car like this was definitely not a limo. This is a V12 sports car, you know, Grand Tourer GT car. So this is definitely not a limo, and it was not used in that fashion. So this should be pretty accurate for what it was actually operating. 4,500 hours. I don't know what that comes out to in per year, but you guys can figure that out and tell me in the comments below. Control module released, control module interlock. That's the control unit adaptations. Okay, let's see if the airbag passes now that it's reading. I didn't erase anything, so it's one fault. Now, instrument cluster. Let's see what we've got here. VDO, it says right on my at the bottom of the tachometer, so I assume that's the manufacturer of the instrument cluster. Read code, stored in current fault and CAN communication with the control module command or audio. Well, my command or audio does not turn on, so that's probably the fault. I will be replacing the command unit with something that looks identical to the stock system. Doesn't have any brand name on it, so it looks like it was made by Mercedes, but it will be updated with Android 8.0 with all the bells and whistles, with Bluetooth and Wi-Fi and all of that good stuff. So that's not an issue right now. Here, these are the event codes. Can't communicate with command or audio. Obviously, my audio doesn't turn on at all. I really need to open this whole thing up and see what's going on. Is it unplugged or isn't it? I just haven't had the time or energy to kind of jump into that yet. But we'll get there. So live data, gauges and instruments shows us this. 134,000 miles. It shows me something slightly 4 miles off of this main odometer reading, which is interesting. So outside temperature 74, fuel tank level 8 liters. It's funny that it's in liters even though we're in America. Adaptation status of drive authorization is learned. Identification matches the vehicle. That's all good and fine and dandy. Other values are these. So 8% brightness, it's important to know. Let's see, what kind of active tests do we have? Actuation of the instrument pointer up to the maximum position, actuate light warning buzzer, display test images on the LCD. I don't know what LCD. Oh, I guess that's not, is it command? Might be command, but it doesn't matter. Bulb test. What does that do? Start of lamp bulb. Okay, let's try that. Oh, check that out. I don't know if you guys can see that. Let me see if I can show you. Look at this. I have activated the bulb test and it shows everything, but here, I don't don't know if you guys can see my finger, to the right of the tire pressure warning, and it is my check engine light, which is not lit up. And to the right of the ABS light is an SRS light, which is not lit up. However, I do have some other lights that are not lit up, which do not... there's a light for my Distronic, for Distronic that does not light up, which is interesting. I mean, I don't have Distronic in this car, but what's this light next to the... You see my finger here? Oh, there's a steering wheel in the way, right? Yeah, there's a light next to this orange, yellow exclamation mark is a car behind the car, which I assume has to do with Distronic. But that's lit up. But the warning about the car being in front of you is not lit up next to it. You guys can't see it because the steering wheel here is blocking. But interestingly enough, that's not lit up. And my check engine light is lit up, but it's blocked. And the SRS light is not lit up, which is also interesting. Very strange. Very strange indeed. I don't know why that is, but it is what it is. So let's go ahead and turn that off. And all of them turned off. All of them that were on to begin with. Good stuff. Bulb test, display test. So that is the lights on the speedometer, odometer area. What do they call it? The instrument cluster, not the command. My command doesn't work in any case. So oil change, remaining distant remaining time, sent to the insurance, get this the last oil change in store. No, we did not change our oil, so we will not be resetting that. So that had no faults anyway. Instrument cluster. Now, Sensotronic brake control, SBC. Oh, there it goes. It says stop because we are ESP, malfunction, visit workshop. Stop, brake, malfunction, stop, vehicle. Oh, Bosch, yet again. So, apparently when we're in the system, it is not, it's not happy. Event code should be exactly the same, nothing. I don't like that beeping. Let's just go through it. Power supply, RPM, pressures, and switches. Pressures. Left front reservoir pressure. Okay. Interesting. And switches. 0. Component stop lamp switch off. If I press the brake, on. You see that? Brake control. Look at this. I press it harder and it goes down. Press it even harder and it goes even more down. I let go and it goes back to 0. Very, very interesting. Okay. So some testing that can be done. And special functions, we have this. Deactivate SBC, activate SBC, replace hydraulic brake system fluid, bleed the brake system. This is cool. This is really cool. Customer complaints, I don't know what that's all about. Please check the pretend. I love how they say please in these things. The computer is being super nice to me. Reset brake counter and brake counter limit current lifetime. Current lifetime, what's that? Come on. Brake counter current lifetime 0. I don't know what that means. Reset brake counter. Engine is running. Okay. Let's try to do this. I don't know what it is, but I don't need any codes telling me that the Mercedes does these weird things where they think something is at the end of its life, even though it has not broken down. They're saying just go ahead and replace it because it's been in service for so long. You don't have to replace anything that's not broken. And if you have a computer such as this or anything that can reset, drive at least 10 minutes. Yeah, okay, we're not going to do that because I don't really care. But basically, yeah, you can reset stuff. And, okay. Oh, it's reading the codes. Okay, so... and that's done. Okay, So, tire pressure monitor, no faults. When I first got the car, it gave me some codes about tire pressure monitor, but as I drove around, it started working, and it now pretty much works most of the time. Bearu, I don't know who that is, but whatever, it doesn't matter, it works. Read codes, there should be nothing. Event code should be nothing. Live data, what kind of live data can we get from this? Setting status, system activation, that's cool. If you replace the TPMS sensors, tire pressure, actual values, set values, tire temperature, wheel electronic status, identification of wheel electronics, actual value, left front, all of the wheels, and manufacture date. Manufacture date, year 2003. Okay, week 48, that's interesting. Okay, out of 52, so it was manufactured at the very end of 2003, which got entered into a 2004 car, which was more than likely manufactured in 2003. Signal transmission between all of the tires. That's the active test. You know, that's interesting. Let's try one. The left front. Zero. So that's how long questions range. Useful electronic more than 6 months. Yes. Wheel ID number, nothing. Let's do a console. Let's 5 minutes. At all wheel except front. 100. Start test. F3. ID number 0. Something is not right here. Something is not right here. I don't really know. I stopped the test. Let's go ahead and escape out of this and just be done with it. I don't really know. Active test, erase codes. Will active test? No. It won't let me reset the life of these things. Does not support this function. So control unit adaptations, nothing. We don't support it. And let's get out of this. And TPMS is reading, probably no faults. Tire pressure monitor. Oh wait. Oh, that was Sensotronic. I just did tire pressure monitor. Okay. Electronic selector module. I don't know what that is, but here we go. ECU. Delphi. Okay. I believe they make parts for Chevy and the likes. So apparently they make parts for this car as well. No faults detected, so we skip right to live data. Shift lever, shift indicator, button switches, shift lock, drive authorization, and check the key or key track. Active test allows us to illumination of shift indicator. It is illuminated, so we don't have to worry about that. And control unit adaptation. Detach the transport protection of control module, electronic selector module. Personalize or activate the control. Okay, so that's the control unit adaptations. Okay, electronic selector module. Now we go to active body control. We don't have a fault in this system, but that's interesting because we have what I believe is an accumulator problem. I don't know, it's made by Tamek, which is interesting. I believe Tamek is also the manufacturer of the ignition coils. Read codes, no codes, so we skip right to live data. Voltages, level sensors, vehicle level, acceleration sensors, travel sensors of suspension struts, active body control pressure, wake up, lock, national version, pressure change during pressure release, pressure change buildup. Okay, so that's the live data. Now active tests, we can do suction valve restriction, lock valve, front left, front right, rear left, rear right, move toward calibrated level automatics, cyclic switchover. What's this? .07.1. Oh, Oh, these are where the levels change ever so slightly, and then start the engine, the actuation. Oh, F3 is to start. Okay, let's start. Oh, hello. Car moved way down. Actuation can be determined when the actual values stop changing. Okay. Well, the values are not exactly even at all. But it's pretty interesting that the car can do that, that this computer can have the car do that. Pressure sensor, the value keeps changing. All of these seem like they're already done, but this keeps changing. I think it's those values that need to be done. Okay. Now that I exit, are we gonna go back up? No, we are not. Okay. All of this, rodeo test here, dynamic test. We're gonna play around with the ABC in a different video, but it's very interesting that this Autel is able to make this stuff work. Initial startup and control module adaptations. Okay, so that was our ABC. Okay, so that was ABC. Then we have central gateway, which also has no fault. Okay, ECU, VDO again. Okay, read codes, there should be no codes. I don't know why I go in there. Special functions, vehicle data, modification year or model year, all codes. What is that? Coding is being read. Okay. And read the coding and change as necessary. That's interesting. Okay. Oh, so this tells you what's present. What's interesting is if you want to add Distronic, you might be able to edit this to tell it that you have Distronic. Okay, keyless go, present. So that's interesting. Some coding that you can do there. And that's the central gateway, pass no fault. Okay, and we're on number 11, which is our electronic ignition switch. So that brings us to number 11. There are no faults in the system. We need to get closer to the screen, right? Okay. Whoa. That should be okay. So there are no codes. ECU information shows us Marquard, whoever that is. So no codes, no event codes, no race codes. So live data. And here we have status of terminals, drive authorization, key or key track. I feel like we had this already. Electronic steering lock control module, current kilometer reading. That's interesting. 500 kilometers, okay. 134, 134. Huh. 134, 134. Kilometer reading in miles. That's interesting. That's almost right. Still 2 miles off, but it's fine. At least you know the odometer is real. So that's electronic ignition switch. Okay, overhead control panel has no faults. Let's see who makes that module. Is it Bosch? No, it's Hella. I thought Hella made headlights, fog lights from back in the day. So, live data, Roadster soft top. We don't have a soft top. That's weird. Interior lighting, mirror adjustment and dimming, light sensors, temperature sensor, power supply. Okay. And the active test, dome lamp, left front, right front, vanity, switch, and automatic interior mirror dimming. Okay. So that's that. Next we have our lower control panel, which also has no faults. So who makes that guy? Hella? No, Marquardt. Apparently Hella can't make the upper and the lower. No codes, so we skip to live data. Okay, not operated. Basically, whatever's not upper left or right exterior mirror adjustment, it's on the right. I do have the right mirror selected. Select the left, it switches to left. That's interesting. Look at that. Computer knows all. Okay, and the active test on that is just illumination. That takes care of the lower control panel, okay? Then we have our driver's side signal acquisition module. No codes, so who makes it? Come on, buddy. After midnight, I gotta get through this for you guys, for me too, but Coastal, that's okay. Different. Haven't seen that one yet. So, live data, voltages, indicators, AC, ambient temperature, headlamp cleaning system, S1 rotary lamp switch, and steering column adjustment motor group. Okay, so it shows you the live data on that, and the active tests are lighting, wipers. This car's water for the wipers does not come out. It works on the headlights, but it doesn't come out on the windshield. I think maybe some tubes are disconnected because I see water coming almost to the sprayer, but it just winds up spilling it down into the engine bay, which I'm gonna attack after I figure out the engine and the suspension issues. All of that stuff is just so far ahead that I don't even care. I mean, it's nice to have a clean windshield and all that good stuff, but I did cheat a little bit because I keep saying that I'm just gonna fix all this other stuff after this and that, but I did cheat a little bit and order the seat switch, seat memory and control switch, and the trunk popper switch. I have not ordered the window control switch for the driver's side. I have a broken passenger switch. On the driver door, my passenger window control is broken off. I actually have the button. It's just broken off and will not go back on as far as I know. I wasn't gonna try to fix it, but the thing is, like all these other buttons I'm getting for 20, 25 bucks, the entire control for the seat, which includes all the seat controls, the memory function, and the heated and cooled. So all in all, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 buttons on that one control. 10 buttons. I got for like $22 or whatever, somewhere right around in the low 20s range. That cost the same as the one trunk popper button. One button cost about the same, which I don't care. I'll spend $20 here and there all day on a V12 Mercedes. All day. The thing is, the window control switch, there are no used ones. Apparently they break a lot, and the used ones go very fast. The used ones, there are a couple, but they cost almost as much as the new ones. So I found a used one for $100. Brand new one is $120 to $125, depending if you want to ship it from Latvia or some place like that, versus US. Both are original from Mercedes OEM part numbers and all that good stuff, used and new. But I mean, all of the parts I'm looking at are original Mercedes. I don't even know if they make aftermarket parts, but I'm not going to play around with that. Mercedes got to be Mercedes. You got to have respect for your Mercedes, fellas, you and ladies. You got to respect your stuff. If you want to buy a Mercedes, treat it like a Mercedes. This is not a Toyota. This is not a Honda. This is not any of that stuff. It's a Mercedes. Treat it like a Mercedes. This car had the aftermarket O'Reilly batteries in here. I mean, come on. A few more bucks and you got an authentic one, but you guys are cheaping out, getting the cheap stuff, and then it's not regulating the power properly, and you get all kinds of problems. I understand as a dealer you're trying to make money, but you're just gonna end up losing money like this guy did. He sold me the car for peanuts when he could have just treated it with some respect. But I digress. Anyway, the point of what I was trying to say was that the window switch is $125 new. Used, it's $100. For that $20 extra, I would much prefer to get a brand new one. $20, you know? What's the point of getting a used one for that kind? I understand if the difference is like 80%, but this was like 10% difference or whatever it is, 10-20% difference. It's not worth it. So for a brand new one, it's $125. If it was $20, I would have just ordered it. But $100, I don't need it. This car is small enough for me to be able to reach to the other side and use the passenger control to roll down the passenger window. You know, for $125, just not gonna do it. It's not worth it. So anyway, we're in this is the active testing. We've went through this by now since I've been chit-chatting, and that brings us to number 15, which is the passenger side SAM. Oh, we have one fault in the driver's side SAM. Did I miss that? Let's see what that could be. I thought there was no fault, but I guess I could be mistaken. Communication with H3, alarm system horn. Alarm system horn. This car has no alarm system horn. And that could be the culprit in the draining the battery. Maybe that was going off. These clowns cut the wire to the horn without actually disabling the alarm. So the alarm might secretly be going off, but the horn is not going off. So you don't know that the alarm is going off. Huh. I wonder. Okay. Store that current, so there's no point to get rid of it. I know the alarm doesn't work because when I press the lock and unlock button, there's none of that Mercedes beep 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 thing. So that's that. Let's see what we have on the passenger side. There are no faults. So ECU is made by Coastal. Live data shows us voltages indicators, SPC, electro-hydraulic brake. That seems fancy. Anti-theft alarm system. What's that all about? Close closed, closed. Okay, maybe that's because the car is running. Glove compartment lamp. I wonder, do I have a lamp in there? Yes, I do. And it is on. Storage compartment switch, whatever that is, doesn't matter. Active test is this stuff here. Exterior lighting, fanfare horns, interesting. Windshield washer pump and washer nozzle. I told you that doesn't work, so we'll figure that out later. Heating water circulation pump, so there's that. Headlamp cleaning works. Footwell lights don't seem to be on. Why are they not on? Oh, they do work, apparently. They may just not be on while you are driving or whatever. I mean, I feel like they should be on a little bit. They are on a little bit all the time in the S-Class, but the S-Class is newer, so maybe they figured that out later in the later iterations of this car. Armrest, storage, compartment lighting. I'm not worried about light bulbs at this point. So that takes care of the passenger SAM. What does the rear SAM have to say with one fault? Is it also made by Coastal or whoever makes that these things? Coastal. Yes. Read codes. We have a fault. What does the back say? Stored. License plate lamp is faulty. It's I guess one of them is burned out or something. I don't know. Center high mounted. That's the third brake lamp is faulty because the previous seller, the dealer who sold me the car, broke into his own car and just broke the hell out of that third brake lamp. So I'm pretty sure I know what's going on there. Erase codes, no point. Voltages, it's fuel level sensor, right rear brake pad contact sensor, and the guy who sold me the car told me he replaced the brakes. He's a dealer, so he probably put the cheapest possible brakes in this car. No slotted, no drilled, no vented, no nothing. No carbon ceramic, Euro edition. None of that stuff that I would have bought. The same stuff that I bought and put into the S-Class. The drilled, slotted, vented, all of the, you know, the stuff that you get on your high-performance AMG cars. These brake pads and rotors are so inexpensive. Not inexpensive like you go get your brakes done at Jiffy Lube. Inexpensive like a full Brembo brake job. Yeah, not a brake job. Brake parts of the brake system, the rotors and pads, cost like 10 grand. I bought all the rotors and pads for the S-Class front and rear for a few $100s. I put them in myself. Obviously you're going to save on the repair costs if you do it yourself, but for a few $100s to get high-end brakes that stop you on a dime, honestly, I mean, to each their own. If you get what you can afford, I respect that. If you get what you get because someone told you to put that in and you didn't do your own research, shame on you. Shame on you. Do your own research. Figure it out first. I know Firestone quoted my sister muffler. Someone stole her catalytic converter and the full muffler all the way to the back. They quoted her like $1,500 to replace that. I got all the parts for like $400. That was $1,500 and just parts, just so you know. I got everything from $400 to $500 for everything, and I'm talking not cheaper versions. I'm talking exactly what they quoted her, part number down to the number, exactly what they quoted her. And in some instances I got better parts, and also they forgot 2 different parts that I needed to get that were not part of their quote. So take it how you want it, but I got all the parts needed that they missed a couple, and by couple I mean two, literally. They missed two parts that were kind of necessary to that whole system. And everything I got for $1,000, over $1,000 less than what they quoted. So, you know, that's what you get for trusting these companies. They have a nice shop, right? You walk in, they're nice and big, and their bays are always full of cars. That's how they get to be so nice and big and offer you free coffee and all that good stuff, because you're overpaying by thousands of dollars. And this was a simple muffler job. I imagine what they get for all of the other stuff. And they always try to suggest you, hey, you need an oil change in 1,000 miles. Yeah, I know, buddy. Thank you. Thanks for letting me know. I know you're trying to rob me right now, but no thank you. So, you know, to each their own. I prefer to get highest end, or at least high end parts for dirt cheap prices. Tell me how you like to do it. You know, I'm sorry I'm kind of rambling. It's as you could probably see at the bottom of the computer, it's after midnight, and I did not get a lot of sleep last night, and I'm ready to go to sleep tonight. Everyone's already passed out, and I'm at night making these videos for you guys and for myself to go through all of this stuff as well. So you know, I hope you guys enjoy it. I'm trying to show you exactly what this thing can do, how deep it really dives into the all 34 modules of the V12 R230 SL. It's sophisticated car. You know, what person would disagree with that statement? Speaking of any V12 automobile, name one V12 automobile that is not sophisticated and advanced and computerized, highly computerized. And you know, this is older, it's an 04, but 34 modules, you know, it's a lot. It's not a lot compared to my S-Class, but it's a lot. You know, it is what it is. So here you see all of this stuff. Those were the active tests for the rear SAM. Now we have our BNS vehicle power supply control module. I could have sworn that said there was one fault. Now there's two. I feel like they're multiplying. In any case, let's see what is in here. That's another Bosch part. Let's go ahead and read the codes. Fuse for starter battery circuit is faulty. I need to replace that fuse. Hey, maybe maybe something is blowing that fuse. Starter battery is faulty. Where is my starter battery? I feel like it's in the front. Yeah, under the hood. And guess what? I haven't replaced that one with a authentic Mercedes one yet. And it's telling me it's faulty. Probably it's just trying to communicate with it or whatever it's doing, and it's reading that it's a crap battery from O'Reilly's. Crap battery from O'Reilly's. But in any case, I know I need to replace it. Short circuit terminal 30, terminal 30A if no faults. The TTC can be disregarded. So this is stored, so that can be erased. But this one, the fuse for starter battery circuit, is faulty. So I need to first replace the battery with a battery that belongs in this car, and might as well replace the fuse. What's the point of checking it? You know what I mean? What's the point? Just replace the fuse. Ignition key is inserted. Well, yeah, the car is running. So there you have number 17, vehicle power supply control module. Okay, now here we have the rollover bar vario roof. Told us there was a fault there earlier. There isn't anymore. Another Temic part. So here we just have live data, function requirements, function rollover bar, roof bar, function load assist, vario roof, rollover bar, left rear power window, right rear power window, and measured values. That's what we have in the live data. Okay, so that's that. Pneumatic system equipment. What does that have to do with? Another Bosch part. PSE. Oh, that's power steering equipment, I think. PSE. So live data. We have trunk lid and central locking signal sources. Okay, both of those are okay. As far as I know, my trunk lock mechanism is messed up, but I know I need to replace that. Unlock trunk lid I can do from here, which is nice because my button is broken. Open and close central locking, all of this stuff work. Emergency opening by simulating the crash signal. That's probably the rollover bar. It pops up when it senses that there's going to be a crash. Normally when you raise it up, it goes up slow and smoothly. When it thinks there's an accident coming, it pops up within, I would say, less than a second. Just pops right up. It's not so quick that it's like boom and it's up, but it's between half a second to a second. It's pretty fast. Let's just say it definitely pops up way before you're going to crash.
In the type of emergency that could lead to a rollover, a signal from the control unit releases an electromagnet. The spring tension stored in these units is released, and the bar is raised into position in about 0.3 of a second. There are two ways that the control unit will release the electromagnets and allow the spring to push the roll bar up. First, if the control unit senses an impact of 4 Gs in any direction. And second, if either of the two rear axle switches open the circuit to the control unit and the control unit senses a 23-degree tilt angle.
Here's another Temic part. I don't remember if there were codes. Okay, there weren't. That's what I thought. Power window, trunk lid, rear view mirror, closing system, seat adjustment. My mirror, turn signal exterior, rear view mirrors. I thought one of the mirrors is supposed to go down when you're one of the mirrors is supposed to go down when you are in reverse to show you the curb. In my S-Class, it also was not going down, but I read in the manual that you're supposed to program that into your driver memory position. And after I programmed it, now it goes down every time I put it in reverse. So this might be a similar system, but my memory seat buttons might be messed up because the seat back is messed up. I don't know if that makes any sense. Probably not. It's super late. But in any case, I ordered the whole new seat control button thing. You know, the buttons for the seat controls, which includes the memory. So when I get that in and install it and all that good stuff, then we'll see if the memory works. And if the memory works, this car obviously did not come, not obviously, but this car did not come with the instruction manual. I did download it from the internet, so I'm gonna have to look up on how to make that mirror go down, because it makes me think that there's another issue with the car when in actuality there may not be. I was scared about the S-Class having problems because it didn't do that, because I know it's supposed to, and it just turned out to be a simple programming of the memory function thing. That's why it's very important, guys. Read your owner manuals on these luxury cars. This friend of my wife's, she just got a 2019 Acura RDX, and I kid you not, that manual, the whole owner's manual, was like 80 pages. 80. And that includes them talking about the warnings that you better make sure you have your seatbelt on and all that, you know, stuff that they write at the beginning. please be careful while driving, or some stuff like that, you know. 80 pages. The S-Class, my S-Class that came, I'm talking just the operator manual, not all the books and, you know, the volumes that come with in that leather pouch and all that stuff that you saw in my other video. Just the operator manual. The Mercedes operator manual is almost 800 pages. 800. It's like a Tolstoy book. It's thick AF. So much stuff in there. 2008 S-Class. It's like 780 pages. Like 800-page book. 2019, brand new. She had like less than 10 miles when she got the car. Just like a couple days ago. Brand new Acura RDX. Fully loaded, mind you. Lane keep active, lane keep assist, radar cruise control, panoramic roof. I mean, everything fully loaded, almost fully loaded. She didn't have some stupid like power folding mirrors or something like that. She didn't have, but that's covered in the manual. Like my S-Class manual covers the S400. I don't think they had a 400. That's from S550 rear-wheel drive all the way up to the S65 being the most expensive S-Class from 08. You know, it covers every model and all the options on those models. So it just says if equipped, meaning every model is covered. If you don't have it, you don't have it. Same with hers. 80 pages. Mercedes, 10 times more. 800 pages. There's a big difference. So I don't know where I started this conversation from. I think it was about reading your manual. Whether your manual is 80 pages or 800 pages. Just do yourself a favor and skim through it. See what's important in there. Because, like, I discovered my mirror wasn't going down because of a simple programming thing that was very well described in the operator's manual. And after that, I've, you know, used it every single time since it's now programmed. So it's automatic, obviously, but it helped. It helps, and I would never have done that if I didn't read the manual. So important. I actually personally did not finish reading that manual. I don't remember how far I got, but life got in the way and I stopped reading for some reason. But I need to finish that up. I should take my own advice, but I have the S-Class pretty well figured out. That's kind of why I personally stopped, because I don't have any things that I'm confused about. You know, that was like one of those things. And quick tip, if you read something that you want to remember or look up in the future, something that you may need more often or at all on any day that is not today, or you just may not remember the proper procedure on how to do it, do yourself a picture, do yourself a favor and take a picture of the page and save it into a folder on your phone under the name of your car, or car/manual or something, whatever, however you guys want to do it, so you have it in the future. That type of thing, that's what I do, and I have it there now, and I don't remember what's in there in my folder on my phone, but I have it just in case, and every time I go through it, it's like, oh yeah, that's right, that is important. So good stuff, and it helps a lot, you know. So that was the live data for the left door control module, which brings us to the right door control module, which also has no faults, and we're gonna just dive right into the ECU, which is a Tamic. We're gonna go ahead and show you the live data, which we have here. Seat adjustment. That's how I'm able to move my... Oh, that's live data. That's probably not it. Or maybe it is. I feel like it was an active test. I'm not sure. So this is a Tamic as well. Production year 2003. There are no Code, seat position, normalization, status of seat adjustment. Let's see what that is. 31,000, 32,000, I don't know. Huh, everything is normalized. That's good. That's good. And switch positions. Okay. Active test. This is how I'm able to move the backrest right here. I'm able to move it back without seatbelt wear convenience. Not really sure about the convenience. Switch on seatbelt convenience feature. Huh, I heard something. Yeah. Huh, something's happening. And it says should be heard. I heard something, but I have no idea what this is. There's nothing. I mean, I feel like it should hand me the seatbelt, like pull out or something, but there's no mechanism that I can see in the window that would be capable of doing that. So, no idea, but I can hear something, so let's just move past it. Front left, this is front right. This would be the same manufacturer, obviously. I don't know if you guys want to see this. I'm just going into it to show you, to be as thorough as possible of what this can do. Seat position, normalization, and seat, whatever that was. Same things for the, except for the child occupied or whatever that is. So we got that. Okay, next would be our multi-contour backrest front seat. Okay, that was strange. I feel like the rear just lifted up a little bit. The rear suspension. Some gremlins in this car. This car is not happy for some strange reason. Olfmeyer, what is that? I haven't seen that yet, I don't think. And live data would show us switches and pressure sensor values. Okay. I don't know why the rear end just lifted up. Maybe it's some sort of control module. I don't know. These multi-contour seats, I don't know if I have them. Maybe I do. I have the massage and everything. Maybe I do. I don't know. This should be Olfmeyer, and it is. There are no codes, and the live data should be the same. As for the driver's seat, then we have our Parktronic system. That is installed. We don't have Distronic, but we do have Parktronic. There are no faults. The system works. It's a Bosch system, apparently. It works well, or I should say it works. Secure the vehicle to prevent. Shift lever to park. Parking brake is not operating. Current shift in park. Parking brake not active. Okay, that is what we have going on. Secure the vehicle to prevent. Shift lever in R. Why? Yeah, I don't feel like doing any of that. So, well, Parktronic, I guess that makes sense. It activates the switches. Yeah, okay. Okay, steering module controls something. Is this for cruise control? Don't have Distronic Coastal. I wish I did. I love that system in my S-Class. Multifunction steering wheel, column adjustment, cruise control, steering wheel, voice control, power supply. Okay. Active test, function lamp, steering wheel heater. I do have the steering wheel heater. Okay. Automatic air conditioning. It works, it's blowing now, although it doesn't work when I first start the car after it's been sitting for a while. That's one of those things that is odd to me, but I assume it's just the computer's turned off because the battery was not supplying power, and then everything is like waking up and all that good stuff. It won't let me put the roof down after the car's been dead for a while. It says please wait, and then finally after it activates, everything works if it doesn't think that my trunk is open. VTO, that's another issue altogether. This is all the air conditioner, diffuser, actuator, motor, blower regulator, keyboard test. So, settings, let's see what this is all about. No idea. Okay, active test. This is all, you know, testing all the individual things. Lots of things to be able to check out. Good stuff. Heated steering wheel. I don't know if I'll be able to test that. I mean, I could turn it on and the steering wheel does heat up. Coastal again. Live data is voltage, output. Yeah, that's okay. We see that it's not eating any energy, which is good. Current consumption 0. Let's see if I can turn it on. There it goes. So we got that going. Turn it off. Goes back to 0. Yeah, so there is that. It's working, so we don't have to dive into that. This keyless go. Keyless go is a strange thing going on. I don't know if my keyless go module is bad or what, but it is not working. Siemens. I'm about to start blaming Siemens for a lot of my problems. Let's see what they tell me my issue is. No fault codes detected. So, how is this possible? Check keyless go key, power supply, keyless start stop button. I gotta play around with that, but as you guys know, I have more important things to do. But it's nice to be able to test all of this stuff. Assign the keyless go key. That's all good and fine and dandy, but keyless go apparently has no faults. Brings us to front left headlamp range control. Automotive lighting, that's the supplier. Interesting. Okay, I have no problem with my lights. So let's just go ahead and get out of there. Front right lamp control. Let's check that out. Should be exactly the same as the left. Made by Automotive Lighting. Live data, probably exactly the same. Okay. Get out. I thought one said 9 volts and one said 96, but I could just be tired. Telematics, we don't care. That's that SOS and call somebody from the built-in car. Outdated, whatever those buttons are. Motorola, yeah, that seems right. Emergency call, roadside assistance, button trunklet not operated. Yeah, it's broken. Information not operated, reverse gear, battery status. Battery status, yes. Okay, GPS reception, yes. So we have reception, we just don't have command at all. It's not turning on. Vehicle speed 0, crash signal from airbag control module. Yes, I assume that's good. Anti-theft alarm not active. I wonder if I can check if it's going off based on this. Visible satellites 12, available satellites 7. So there is that. And that leaves us with the CAN bus, system diagnosis, if that's if this is the CAN bus system. I assume it is. So again, VDO, read codes, erase codes, that's all there is. Nothing we can do, and there were no codes. So that brings us to the end of actual Mercedes test. We already did a quick erase. I just entered into the last one, didn't I? Yeah, we don't need that. Yeah, system diagnosis, okay. Escape. Yes, I am sure. We did the auto scan, so that takes care of all of that stuff. Hot function. There's an oil reset, electronic parking brake, and tire pressure monitoring system. These hot functions are, I guess it's kind of like resetting, what's the word? Testing, maybe? Transmitter between tires. Okay, we saw this in the Mercedes testing. So I guess you can reset the oil from here, but you can also, yeah, the brake stuff. Or you can also reset it from the dash somewhere, so not too worried about that. Replace brake pads, that's pretty cool. Please release the parking brake, it's not on. Safety note, oh, ESP off. No, the SBC off. I don't even know how to deactivate the SBC. Yeah, we're not gonna do that. Special functions are, oh, that's how you deactivate it. Then you activate it. Hydraulic brake system fluid, that's good, I'm gonna need that. Reset brake counter. Make sure engine is running, okay. If this is not gonna work, I'm not gonna sweat it, I don't really care. But I have no idea what it's doing right now. Oh, I guess I did this before. Brake counter, current lifetime. Still 0. 0. Okay. Don't really care. So, and then there's the oil reset. Reset without tool, reset with tool. I don't have any other tools, so that's the hot functions. Programming. Motor, transmission, airbag. You can go into most of the systems. That was not 34 modules or anything, but we'll see right now. Variant coding. This is some fairly serious stuff that I know nothing about. So I'm not really gonna software calibration coding. Yeah, this is, you know, fairly serious stuff. So that's the airbag, TPMS, Distronic. I don't have Distronic in this car. Unable to communicate. Well, that makes a lot of sense. Tire pressure monitor. Let's see what that shows. I am tired, but I want to show you guys the initial startup. I want to, when you replace the sensors. I am tired, but I want to show you guys as much as possible on initial startup. On what's possible with the Autel with this particular car. So, I'm sorry if I seem like I'm skipping stuff, because I would like to go to sleep. It's almost 1 in the morning, and it's initial startup and read the coding. And the stuff that I'm reading off the scanner right now, I'm not really going to be able to use until I fix the engine and the suspension. Those are the only two initial startup. Those are the only two things that I'm really worried about right now. So this is not super useful to me right now, but it's always good to have a record of, you know, where we were at this point. By the time I replace the ignition coil and those ABC accumulators, we'll see where we stand at that point. Initial startup, recoding, and changes necessary. So we'll dive into this deeper when we have something to do, or if you guys initial startup, or if you guys need to see what this does in a specific module or programming style, or what it how it programs, or what it's able to do in a specific module, let me know in the comments below, and I can make a separate video to show you what this thing can do on what you need to see from it. So, can communicate. What was that command? Yeah, that makes sense. And TV tuner. I don't have any TV in here, so can't communicate. Okay. And that's it for programming. So we escape from there, and that takes us back to the only thing left, which is the EOBD. So you have to accept that first. This is a generic version of, you know, the Mercedes scan. This scans it as if it were any other car. And you're most likely not gonna need to go in here, but as I say that, it's I feel like it gave me some information that I didn't have prior, which is kind of strange. You feel like Mercedes would give you all the info, but the Mercedes scan, but who knows. Who knows? Let's just see. There we go. See? MIL status on, and on my dash, all you can see is a little tiny bottom part of the check engine light, which they have tried to cover up. We shall see when I take it apart. Storage cylinder 2 misfire, yes. We know all about that. Light is on, misfire, everything's okay. Catalyst monitoring included. All of that good stuff. This is, you know, generic type stuff. 2 sensor monitor. Mode is not supported, so that's great. Onboard monitor. Exhaust gas sensor monitor rank, bridge to lean sensor threshold voltage. Test not supported. Vehicle information, turnkey on with engine off. Well, my engine is running. I don't really feel like turning it off with one thing left, and it still gave me some ID numbers. Vehicle status. One code. There's way more than one code, which is why it's good to do specific Mercedes scan. That was the auto scan. Protocols are just the different protocols, which the auto scan took care of. And when we escape from there, it takes us to this, and that's all there is to it. There you guys have it. That's the deep dive into the 2004 Mercedes-Benz SL600 V12 BiTurbo R230 chassis body model number, whatever you call it, the R230 chassis. And that's the deep dive. If you guys have any questions, comments, if you want to see anything extra that I didn't cover, let me know in the comments below. But for the most part, this is pretty much it. So that's about as deep as you can get into this car, as far as I know. I do not have the Star Diagnostics computer. I was thinking about buying one of those Chinese clones, which are, you know, so I don't have to spend like $30,000 on the whole system. And you can get those for, you know, starting at like $400 or $500 all the way up to like $1,200. For example, that may even come with the laptop and all of that good stuff, and the multiplexer and all that good stuff. But I figured that's just a Mercedes computer. I can spend a little bit more and get this guy, which is the, again, the Autel MaxiCom MK908P Pro version, which includes programming. So, and I'm very happy I got that, because I was able to already program the higher speed limiter on the W221 S-Class that I have from like 120 or whatever it was up to 155, which is electronically controlled and governed. So that was already worth it for me for that function alone. But I like top of the line stuff. I felt like for the extra couple $100 that the difference was between the cheaper MK908 and the one that I got, which was MK908P, I felt like it was worth it for me. So, you know, to each their own. And that pretty much ends it for me. It's 12:56 and I am ready to pass out. Thank you guys for joining me. Please don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons. I will be trying to plug this thing into any car that I can find, just to scan it and see what its capabilities are, because I am truly curious. After having spent all that money on this computer, I want to know if it can do anything at all. My impressions are that yes, it absolutely can, and that it rivals OEM level scan tools, not only, well, when I say scan tool, it's more like diagnostics, active tests, programming, you know, like OE level technology. But I don't have the OE level technology to compare it to, but I feel like this really dives really deep into all the systems. If you have an OE computer for any make, please let me know in the comments below what kind you have, and I would love to do some comparison videos on like if you have a Ford computer, you know, I'd love for you to scan a car, like let's say you want to scan a Lincoln Navigator, for example, just because I have one, and you tell me exactly how deep and what that computer can do, or at least the higher level functions that it can do that you wouldn't expect the aftermarket computer to do. And I'd love to test that on with my computer and see if I can mimic what the OE level diagnostic scanner can do, and see if this can keep up, at least for the most part. I would love to see that. But anyway, comment, like, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Good night.